So this time, I think, is where big tech, I think, both seems incredibly vulnerable, but also really unstoppable, all at the same time. And while federal elected officials have really been struggling with this rising challenge around automation and privacy and the threat of climate change, what we've seen and what we're incredibly proud of is that local leaders have stepped up and entrepreneurs are stepping up. So this generational challenge is really not only about transportation, but it's really about buildings and construction. It's about heating, and it's about cooling. It's about waste. It's about fashion, and really every element of our modern life. And we think that meeting this challenge will require creative city innovations, not just a bold vision and not just good policy, but also entirely new thinking and real solutions. And in that spirit, we invite you to connect with our teams who are helping to address many of these really complex issues. You can have a look at all of their progress if you go to urbanx.com/demoday05. You can contact them afterwards. They're here in the back. For those of you online, all their contact information is on this page. And you can also join the conversation with us by using any of our social handles at UrbanXXL and using the hashtag #MakeYourCity. In that spirit of progress and hope, I want you to please give me a warm welcome and help me bring up our first founder. Thank you.
My name is Alex Esposito. I'm the co-founder of Circuit, formerly known as the Free Ride, and we're an all-electric short-range shuttle service. Circuit offers people rides short distances using all-electric cars. The problem that we found was that people were using their cars for short distances. So if we could find a way to get people to ride together, then we could reduce congestion. I started the company with my business partner, James Mears, back in 2011, and we thought if we could use all-electric cars to cut out the cost of fuel and work with advertisers and municipalities to fund the service, then we could provide a solution at no cost to the rider. We set up an on-demand app, so if you're anywhere within a certain coverage area, normally 0 to 2 or 0 to 3 miles, you can get a free ride anywhere within that coverage area. There's a lot of rideshare companies out there, but we're very focused on short-range distances that account for a third of all trips in the US. If we're able to get people out of their cars and drive them in electric cars, then not only are we helping congestion, but we're helping the environment along the way. We use Circuit's cars to connect people with distant parking lots, to connect people short distances, but also to connect people with existing transit hubs. We believe that if we can offer a free, eco-friendly connection to trains and buses, then more people will use them and ultimately less people will use their own vehicles. Today, Circuit's in 14 different cities, and I think in the next few years we hope to triple that. We've also already given over 2.5 million rides, so that number continues to climb every day, and that's something we're excited about. Hi everyone, I'm Alex Esposito. I'm the co-founder of Circuit, formerly known as the Free Ride. We are an all-electric, free local shuttle service. We focus on congested downtown areas, and we've given over 2.5 million rides since we started. The transportation landscape's changing faster today than it ever has before. 100 years ago, cars started to overwhelm our cities, and now city planners are doing everything they can to get people out of them. Why? Because cars work great in urban, suburban settings, but they cause a lot of traffic in urban environments. Knowing this, investors are throwing billions of dollars at every type of solution, from flying cars to rideshare services to scooters and more. Over a third of all vehicle trips in this country are under 2 miles. That's about 1 billion trips a year, and congestion's at an all-time high. One of the problems is that there aren't good solutions for first mile, last mile transportation. Scooters are great if you're young and adventurous. Autonomous vehicles might be the answer one day, but they're still struggling in areas where we thrive and are very expensive. So what do people do? They drive. The majority of Americans still drive themselves to work, or they take rideshare services. Companies like Uber and Lyft are clogging up our streets with independent contractors, and by their own admission aren't very good at getting people to ride together. It's easy to understand why. People don't like climbing over strangers to sit in the back of minivans. We have a simple solution that works. We use a ride request app and electric cars. If you're anywhere within our geo-fenced coverage area, normally 0 to 3 miles, you can catch a ride and it's free. We use the data to make the system smarter, and we work with cities and advertisers to pay for it. We know the solution works because we proved it by solving a congestion problem in our hometown. James and I created a service where people could park their car in a parking lot, ditch the gas guzzler, and share a ride in an electric vehicle to the beach. This isn't a concept or a dream, but a proven business model that we've been able to bootstrap and expand around the country. Turns out people really like riding these cars too. Of course, they love the fact that it's free, but they also like that our drivers are local, paid, W-2 trained employees. The cars are also comfortable, everyone gets their own door, and we create an enjoyable experience that people want to be a part of. In San Diego, for example, 3/4 of our rides are repeat riders, and the city's recently reached out to double the size of our program there. Question we often get with a business that used to be called the free ride is how we make any money. We work with cities, transportation agencies, and private developers to help bridge first mile, last mile gaps, getting people around short distances out of their cars, connecting with existing transit hubs and distant parking lots. We then work with some of the world's biggest brands to execute outdoor media campaigns. While we don't charge the riders today, they're still a very valuable customer base for us. They provide us a tremendous amount of data, which we're able to use to enhance the service and grow the offerings. Even without charging, we're still able to produce a profit. Imagine that, a rideshare company that can actually make money. 2018 was a great year, and 2019 is setting up to be even better. We did $5.4 million in top-line revenue last year. Advertising sales were up 47%, working with some of the world's biggest brands like Coca-Cola, JetBlue, Vita Coco, and L'Oreal. We anticipate that number to be significantly higher this year, but we found our fastest growing customer base to be transit customers, which were 1.3 million in last year's revenue. Since then, we've signed 4 new city contracts in the last 6 months and have a ton of new opportunities online. We have a really big opportunity ahead of us. Cities all over the country and all over the world are investing more and more of their transportation budgets into these first mile, last mile, and micro-mobility problems. We anticipate that number and that percentage of funding to grow, but looking at just what's happening today in the US, we're looking at a $3.2 billion opportunity. To put it in perspective, we recently signed a service contract with the city of Hollywood, Florida. The contract's $1 million, just under $1 million a year for phase 1, and Hollywood, Florida is only the 163rd largest city in the US. Looking at just our existing and neighboring markets, we can expand to 1,000 cars in the next 2 years, resulting in over $100 million in top-line revenue. Circuit's able to beat out household names like Ford and Uber because we have a solution that's more efficient, more eco-friendly, and oftentimes more cost-effective than the traditional options. We're also winning for less obvious reasons like accessibility and job creation. We're proven operators in the micro-mobility space, and we're building a moat of contracts with cities all over the country. Some of these contracts are as long as 25 years, too. We're building all of our systems so that the cars are interchangeable with an eye on new technologies. We have a great team behind us. It's led by James Mears, my business partner, and I. James is a former Morgan Stanley alum, and I used to work for Accenture. He handles operations, and I focus on business development. Together, we were able to turn a single car loan into a multi-million-dollar business, and we now have a talented team of 10 behind us. We've also created over 150 quality jobs around the country, and that's important to us, and it's important to our customer base, too. Circuit's proven that it can reduce single-occupancy vehicles and is making a positive impact in communities all over the country. There are over 80 cities speaking to us to help solve some of their transportation issues, representing a pipeline worth well north of $100 million. We're starting 6 new markets this year, including one right here in Williamsburg. Our team is assembled, the systems are in place, the contracts are in place, and the time to scale is now. If you haven't already, we encourage you to check out the cars outside, download the app, hop on board, and enjoy the ride. Thanks a lot.
My name is Dan Blank. I'm the CEO of Toggle. Toggle is a construction robotics company working to make some of the most difficult and dangerous tasks in construction safer and more efficient. As construction becomes larger and more complex, we're still relying upon methods that are old and unchanged from previous generations. And specifically, reinforced concrete is the most common building material in all of construction. And the process for putting together rebar, which is found on every construction site, is highly manual labor intensive and very inefficient. Working with rebar is a very difficult process for humans. The bars are very large and heavy and difficult to manipulate. And so our solution is to introduce robotics into this process, to take the heavy lifting out of humans' hands and allow automation and machinery to make the process more efficient. With humans focusing on the jobs that best suited their abilities and robotics doing the heavy lifting. So what it does is it decreases the labor cost by about half and can increase the productivity by 5 times the old process. By transitioning to digital design and fabrication of concrete, we can engineer more efficient use of materials and actually reduce the amount of concrete being used in construction while still getting the same structural benefit. We believe that the construction industry is in the midst of a major transition, and at Toggle we want to be leaders in the introduction of robotics into the way that we build cities and large-scale infrastructure.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Dan Blank, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Toggle, and we're a construction robotics company. So concrete reinforced by steel rebar is the most ubiquitous construction material. Rebar provides structural integrity, and it can be found in virtually all concrete. Reinforced concrete is consumed in greater quantity than any other material on the planet besides water, and that's because it's the fundamental building block of all large-scale construction. Large-scale construction is accelerating due to global urbanization. The cities that we're building are becoming larger and more complex. And in addition, building new as well as rehabilitating old infrastructure is creating massive demand for reinforced concrete. And if we look at the way that we build with rebar, it really hasn't changed. Here you can see the Guggenheim Museum being constructed in 1957. And if we jump ahead 60 years, we see the exact same manual labor process being used on this Manhattan high-rise. And the problem is, assembling rebar by hand is slow, labor-intensive, and dangerous. Construction companies are already struggling to find skilled labor. And so if we don't come up with a faster and more efficient way to build with this critical material, we'll never meet that global demand. So how do we solve this? Well, it turns out we solved a very similar challenge in the manufacturing space. With the introduction of industrial robots, we can lift very heavy parts and we can put them anywhere we want them to go. So at Toggle, our solution is to use the same industrial robots that are used in manufacturing, but we're developing a flexible and automated manufacturing system for the fabrication and assembly of rebar for the construction industry. In our factory in Brooklyn, we're able to create a wide variety of rebar cage shapes and sizes, which we then put on a truck and deliver to construction sites where they're installed and covered with concrete. The work happens in 2 parts. First, we take raw rebar and we cut it and bend it into pieces. That's called fabrication. We then take those pieces and we tie them together into 3-dimensional shapes, and that's called assembly. But in order to make industrial robotics work for the construction industry, we had to create some new technology. Our patent-pending system and process is comprised of hardware, software, and services in our own factory facility. On the hardware side, the gripper that we've developed is made specifically for handling rebar and can lift individual pieces up to 20 feet in length and 500 pounds. A robotic wire tying tool can secure 2 pieces of rebar together in less than 3 seconds, and our reconfigurable fixture system allows us to rapidly change from one shape or size of rebar cage to another. Our software takes data from CAD drawings and engineering and takes the geometry and translates it into robotic motion planning. This is what allows the robot to do the work. By instituting a totally digital workflow, we're able to eliminate shop drawings, and that way no data gets lost. Altogether, the platform saves 50% on labor cost while increasing productivity 5x. This translates to over $1 million in savings on a single high-rise building, and that's in addition to increasing worker safety. The way that we think about the market opportunity is by the geography that we serve. from our first factory in New York City, we'll do $50 million in revenue. We'll then scale that to 27 high-growth construction markets across the US, and then to 5 global markets. That represents a $1.4 billion and then $7 billion opportunity. And the way that we go into these markets is we start by subcontracting assembly to fabricators that have an existing customer base. We'll then add fabrication to the assembly, and that'll allow us to go up the value chain and sell directly to contractors and developers. We generate our revenue by selling fabrication and assembly by the ton. But with our robotics and automation technology, we're able to capture a much higher margin in this traditionally low margin business. And this model is already working for us. We have paid pilots on 2 prominent New York City infrastructure projects. We're adding new partners every month, and together with these partners, we've already built a $30 million pipeline for our first factory here in New York. And within the competitive landscape, our technology allows us to combine variety with productivity, which in this legacy-dominated industry is something that no other company can offer. And the team that we've assembled brings together all of the expertise that we need across construction, manufacturing, and robotics. I previously founded a digital design consultancy that worked with developers of civil infrastructure. And our CTO, Mike, brings 30 years of experience designing and building robotic manufacturing solutions for organizations like Raytheon, Caterpillar, and the US Department of Energy. We're currently in production in our facility in Brooklyn, and we have a $30 million pipeline. We have a clear pathway for robotics to change the way that we do construction, and it starts with rebar, but then moves on to precast, which is adding concrete to the rebar, and eventually goes into all methods of construction assembly. And we're now looking for partners as well as investors that would like to join us on this mission. Thank you very much.
My name is Vince, and I'm co-founder of TRO. TRO is making your home more comfortable with a better heating and air conditioning experience. The air conditioning and heating industry hasn't innovated in over 50 years. People in cities typically have to use window air conditioners, which are really loud and ugly and really bad for the environment. We all love thermodynamics. We were all building heat exchangers and compressors and chillers in our garages, and then we came together because we realized that the world can't sustain all of us continuing to heat and cool our buildings the way we do today. So we started TRO to fix that. Our product lets you replace your window air conditioner with something that's quieter, looks better, still lets you use your window, and is also much less energy and much better for the environment. What a lot of people don't realize about the building, heating, and cooling sector is that the emissions aren't just from energy use. There's a lot of harmful gases that escape into the environment and have a very huge impact on climate. What we're creating eliminates use of these harmful gases altogether, which means that your building heating and cooling system can have a more than 75% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. This can have a huge impact on the industry overall. We have several technology breakthroughs that let us do things better, cheaper, and faster. We want people to set their thermostat and not have to worry about energy bills or the impact on the environment. Hi everyone, my name is Vince, and I started TRO because I wanted all of our homes and buildings to be comfortable without having to worry about energy bills or the impact on the climate. We're doing this because 4 billion people across the globe are moving out of poverty and gaining access to their first air conditioner. This is great news for health, productivity, and comfort, but this is terrible news for the planet. Currently, heating and cooling already emits more carbon than the entire transportation sector, and if this growth happens with the technology we use today, these emissions will double over the next 30 years. Climate control is killing the climate. This is driving change in an industry that's traditionally very resistant to change. Local and international regulation, most recently the NYC Climate Mobilization Act that was passed last week, are pushing for lower carbon refrigerants and lower energy buildings. However, the industry hasn't changed in a very long time. For example, these are what we commonly use today to air condition a room. There's about 50 million of these in use in the US. That's 1 in 5 adults, probably even more than that in New York City. And nearly everyone who uses these hates them. They hate them because they're loud, they take up your window, and they're very inefficient. This is the solution from the industry's perspective. This is called a mini split. This is an upgraded system that's quiet and doesn't take up your window. However, it's still ugly, and it costs about 10 times as much as a window AC. The reason it costs so much is because you need a professional to come to your home and install it. This is where TRO comes in. We make a new class of AC that's available at an accessible cost. The T1 is quiet, it doesn't take up your window, it uses half the energy of the systems that it replaces, and it reduces your carbon footprint by 3/4. This system doesn't just provide air conditioning, it also provides heating and dehumidification. A comparable mini split would cost $3,000 or more after installation, and this will be available at half that cost. Future models can be available for less than $500. How have we done what no one else has been able to do? My co-founder and I have a combined 2.5 decades of experience building thermodynamic devices. We came together a year ago to bring these technologies to the built environment. We focused on increasing efficiency while keeping costs the same, and around simplifying the installation process and the cost to acquire a system. We're focusing on the entire customer journey of getting an air conditioner. No one likes to go to Home Depot and carry home a big box on the subway. Our system you can order online, it shows up at your door, and then installs with one person with no tools. We have a simple user interface that's accessible from the device itself or from a smartphone app that integrates with existing smart home ecosystems. And because we're building the first HVAC company that's focused on the user, we want to provide continued comfort services to the user, like air filter replacements, home energy tips, and the ability to run your system when energy is the cheapest. About 8 million window ACs are sold in the US every year, and about 40% of those are to people who would buy an upgraded HVAC system but can't, either because their building isn't compatible, they want to be able to take it with them when they move apartments, or they don't even know that mini splits exist. This is our first market, and this represents a $3 billion market domestically. The same technology that enables us to build this system scales to full home HVAC, commercial HVAC, and industrial HVAC. This represents a $30 billion global market. We've secured over $3 million in non-dilutive funding from California government and Department of Energy grants. We're engineering our system to use best-in-class component suppliers, and via a paid marketing campaign, we've generated new leads at less than $2 per email. We built a world-class team of engineers from Berkeley, MIT, and SpaceX, and our advisors and investors include the founding team at Nest. We have enough runway to ship to our California grant customers in 2021, but as we've identified a broader market and broader demand for this product, we're raising more money to be able to scale faster and launch to the broad domestic market at the same time as our California grant customers. The expansion in the use of cooling is inevitable, and TRO is here to make sure that the next 4 billion people can have comfortable homes without compromising the environment. Thanks.
My name is SHLOMY ASHKENAZI, CEO and co-founder of GreenQ. GreenQ provides monitoring and optimization for waste collection. Municipalities and haulers lack real data from the streets about the amount of the waste that is being generated, collected, or miscollected. That causes difficulties with monitoring and controlling the process of collection and planning the right usage for the trucks. GreenQ's technology provides real data from the truck, analyzing it, and then using it in order to optimize and control the waste collection. We gain data about thousands of bins by installing hardware just on one truck. The system provides a simple dashboard to the fleet manager where they can see that everything is okay, that the job is being done, to have alerts if something is wrong, and have recommendation for better future use of the truck. Less trucks on the street means less greenhouse gases, less noise and traffic, and monitoring them better means better quality of service to the residents. Better waste collection contributes to the community's wellness and happiness.
Hi everybody, my name is SHLOMY ASHKENAZI, CEO and co-founder of GreenQ. We are using data and analytics to reduce expenses in waste collection. Collecting waste is one of the complex logistics operations and one of the largest expenses of every modern city. Imagine you're running a package delivery service and you stop at every home just in case they need a delivery. Even worse, you have no way of knowing if a package was delivered. Today, waste haulers and municipalities are wasting time and money because they don't know things like what collections must be made, what collections can't be skipped, and if there is a customer problem they should take care of. They have no tools to review and understand what is happening on the street. This waste in waste accounts to more than 30% of unnecessary expense of $23 billion every year in the United States only. GreenQ has the answer. After 1 day of installation, GreenQ automatically generates all the data waste collection managers need to operate their fleets. While waste is being picked up, we collect real data from the street about each pickup. Then using it to create prediction when waste will be generated, when it needs to be picked up. Then we alert the operators in real time to problems so they can respond. Our customers already see 30 to 50% of cost reduction using our services. That means $2,000 per month per truck, or $500 million annually for a fleet the size of New York City's sanitation department. In the US, there are 130,000 trucks, equally split by private and municipal owners. As they have the same needs and the same distribution channels, we approach them in parallel, offering them a SaaS-based try-and-buy program in the cost of $350 per month per truck. In Q4 last year, we were operating 10 trucks. We tripled it, and now we have LOIs for more than 600 trucks. So we watch a lot of waste, and we're well on track to exceed $1 million in annual recurring revenue. There are a lot of ways to collect waste. We are relevant for any truck-based collection. We see some competition for certain kinds of canisters from smart bins companies, but we are 50 times cheaper. As a team, we have a combined experience of founding 7 companies, including 2 exits, 50 years of coding, designing, and executing large-scale projects for the IDF and the private sector. When our customers try GreenQ, they buy. We are looking for distribution partners and investors to reach our first 1,000 trucks. Thank you.
My name is Sheila Kim Parker, CEO of Thrilling. Thrilling's goal is to make secondhand shopping as popular, fun, and as much of a habit for more people as possible. Thrilling is a tech and logistics partner for secondhand store owners. We do all the work of putting their inventory online so that they don't have to, and you can come to our website and shop these local stores for the first time. We approach the stores, we pick up their clothing, we take it back to our headquarters, we do all the photography, data entry, measurements, everything that's required to put the item online. And pretty much in 24 hours, they now have a page on our website that they can use as their own website. Amazingly, there are more secondhand stores around the US than there are Starbucks and McDonald's combined. And they do about $15 billion a year, but none of that is online for the most part. And so we are helping them go online for the very first time, bringing their fantastic, unique fashion gems to the digital marketplace. So everybody who wants to shop in a more sustainable, environmentally friendly way can now do so. You can be in Japan and Sweden and be able to shop these local stores in Los Angeles or Kansas for the very first time. In my wildest dreams, I would love for Thrilling to be everyone's first stop for shopping. So rather than going to a different website or to the mall, they head to Thrilling and shop secondhand. Hi, my name is Sheila Kim Parker, CEO of Thrilling, the first marketplace bringing secondhand stores online. We at Thrilling are passionate about this business for 2 primary reasons. The first, proud production has devastating consequences for the environment. It can take 1,000 gallons of fresh water to make a single item of clothing. Apparel production is one of the leading contributors to global warming. And we're particularly wasteful. We wear clothes on average 7 times before throwing them in the trash, and clothes are not biodegradable. Secondhand shopping is one of the best ways that we can all do our part. But it's not just about doing good. We're also really excited by the size and scale of this opportunity. $24 billion in secondhand apparel sales, 2018, growing at lightning rates. 24 times faster than the pace of the broader apparel market. Now, shockingly, despite the popularity of secondhand shopping, more than 95% of all the clothing in secondhand stores is completely offline. That's 240 million items every year worth more than $7 billion lying in total digital darkness. Now, why is that? The truth is that most e-commerce platforms today are geared towards me and you selling the stuff in our closet, but that's missing a much broader opportunity. Secondhand stores are the best and most efficient portal to well-curated inventory at scale. Think about the fact that there are, as you've heard me say in the video, 40,000 secondhand apparel stores across the United States. And to put that number into context, that is nearly double the combined footprint of Starbucks and McDonald's. The challenge is, the thing that makes secondhand shopping so much fun, which is that every item is unique, it's a treasure hunt, every item handpicked by store owner experts with decades of experience, that uniqueness makes it difficult to translate that inventory online. Hear from store owners themselves, expressing their frustrations about their options for going online today, the time, effort, and savvy required to do so, even though they feel it's imperative for their survival to be online. And that's where Thrilling comes in. We handle the tech and logistics for store owners so they don't have to, everything from photography through customer service, and in exchange we take 30% commission off of each sale. We are taking you from a reality of secondhand marketplaces looking like this, items from amateur sellers' closets, of uneven or unknown quality, presented in a somewhat chaotic fashion, to a marketplace that looks like this, high-quality merchandise from expert sellers, presented in a uniform and beautiful manner, where you can shop by category, or shop by your favorite store, or filter by color, size, era, etc. What's exciting is that we're making previously inaccessible clothing shoppable and searchable for the very first time. We offer clear benefits for both shopper and store owner that simply don't exist among our competitive peer set. And best of all, we have an extremely lean business model. We are leveraging existing retail infrastructure to acquire, curate, and warehouse inventory. We launched this past November, and since then our sales have grown 200% month over month. We're on track to hit $100,000 in monthly sales by the end of the year, and our average order value is quite high, well north of $100 consistently. One of the ways we're generating these results is by bringing demand to us. Every day people are searching for things that are incredibly specific to them, and we're ranking high in those searches and getting people to pull out their credit cards because we have the depth and breadth of high-quality inventory to meet their needs. Our goal is to match every single item with the right buyer no matter where in the world they are, and we're seeing that succeed. Our average shopper is 2,000 miles away from the originating store, and we're paying pennies to find them. We're well on our way to reach $1 million in sales by the end of the year, and we're leveraging a disciplined approach to customer acquisition to get there. On the supply side, we're very excited to officially launch our exclusive e-commerce partnership with Goodwill, an organization that does $5 billion in secondhand apparel sales every year. We're also rolling out nationwide the launch of our app, which brings innovations in the e-commerce uploading process to the palms of store owners' hands. These features have never been seen before in any e-commerce marketplace. The team is myself. I come from primarily a business and management background. My last role was chief of staff for Disney's largest division. My co-founder and CTO, Brad Mallow, was the head engineer for several successful venture-backed e-commerce platforms. And together we're looking for great partners who are as excited as we are to bring technology to what has historically been a digital desert and make secondhand shopping a first priority for everyone. Thank you.
I'm Rodrigo de Guzman. I'm the founder and CEO of Borrow. Borrow is an electric car company that makes it easy to get an EV. Rental car companies really force you to be limited to a time that's usually about 7 days on average. They don't provide electric cars. There's an additional cost for gas. There really aren't leases that are around for shorter than 2 years. So when it comes to electric cars, not only are there no leases for them, but also an electric car requires some understanding if it's going to work for your lifestyle. Electric cars are not only green in nature, they certainly save on gas. And there's a huge rising tide of electric cars, both from a production perspective and also consumer demand. When it comes to electric cars, they really don't understand how to use them or live with them. Our company gives them a great solution to live with an EV, understand the charging infrastructure, understand if it'll work for their commute, and understand if it'll work for their lifestyle. The borrow solution benefits the industry in a few ways. First, we are buying cars that would otherwise go to auction. And second, we're providing a solution in the time gap where people expect cars from 5 minutes all the way up to 5 years, and we fill that gap from 3 to 9 months. We're currently active in Los Angeles with 50 customers, and we're looking to expand and are collecting reservations in Phoenix, Atlanta, Columbus, Portland, Seattle, San Diego, and Riverside. The borrow solution is creating a systematic change because it's putting power back in the hands of consumers. Consumers are saying, this is what I want. I want my car to be mobile, and I want it to be electric, and we give them those options.
Hi everybody, I'm Rodrigo de Guzman. I'm the founder and CEO of Borrow. Borrow is the future of EV ownership. EV production is booming across the globe. By the year 2030, there will be as many electric cars on the road as there are US households. Auto manufacturers are spending $300 billion to invest in marketing and R&D to produce those 125 million units. At the same time, technology is changing how we get cars. Once upon a time, you'd go to the dealership, you'd spend all day there to get your car. Now, people expect to get a car on their phone. This boom in EV production and changes in how we get cars is creating the perfect storm of confusion for the potential EV buyer. First, the industry has a big problem. If you've gone to the car dealership to buy a gas-powered car, you know that experience is terrible. It's worse for EVs. If you go to buy an EV, they're often covered with dust, not charged, sitting somewhere on the lot by themselves. And to add to matters, new EVs depreciate at a higher rate than gas-powered cars. For the buyer, it's a bit of a different problem. They have so many questions about living with an EV that they're afraid to commit to years of monthly payments. They want to know about charging infrastructure. They want to know if they can take it on a long-term road trip. They've heard about a better model coming out next year. And if you try to get an EV for a long-term test drive, good luck. A long-term test drive doesn't exist, until now. Borrow makes it easy to get into the EV of your choice for 3, 6, or 9 months. A user comes to our website, they select their car, they select their city, and they select their pickup date, and we take care of everything else. We take care of insurance, delivery, charging, and maintenance. And people love our service. We've gone from a small fleet of 11 cars to now we have 153 paid reservations, growing to 500 by June 1st. And we've seen 125% week-over-week growth, which makes it the perfect time to expand. And California is our perfect expansion market. California has 50% of all EVs in the US. It's also rich with our target market. Our target market's millennials, college students, empty nesters, and EV enthusiasts. And we've been able to reach those target users with a cost that is 10 times better than the auto industry. EV adoption is growing exponentially. The worldwide EV market is $8 billion, and we're going after $2.5 billion. The US market is $2 billion, and we're going after $500 million. In Southern California alone, our home market, there are 13,000 off-lease EVs in 2018, and we have a path to get 753 reservations, or 6% of that market by Thanksgiving. People now want cars for as short as 5 minutes to as long as 5 years. What we do at Borrow is we make it quick, easy, and convenient for you to get into an EV for the amount of time that you want. We created the market, and we own that space between 3 months and 2 years. Because we own that space, it's no surprise that Borrow carries great momentum. Right now, we have a pathway to financing term sheets for 500 cars on the road, 7 markets, and $20 million in annual recurring revenue, all within the next 12 months. We've assembled the perfect team to conquer that business. As a founding team, we have 75 years of experience in marketing, automotive, and fintech. And as founders, John and I bring 25 years as operators with 5 exits between us. And that's Borrow.
My name is Terry Clark. I'm the CEO of Buildstream, and we're building the digital operating system for heavy construction equipment. The problem that we're solving is the underutilization of expensive heavy equipment assets like bulldozers, excavators, and site trucks. I was working on a major infrastructure project and I was in charge of their equipment operations. I saw that there's a big problem with underutilization and I was looking at ways to solve it. As we researched the problem, we quickly found that there's a big data gap, so we created BuildStream to fill that gap. Our solution uses hardware and software to digitize these assets. We pull all the data into one place and we provide live granular information that communicates to head office people and site teams so that they can understand how to use the equipment more effectively when it's out on site. BuildStream benefits the environment because what we do is to help the equipment be used more efficiently. Now, a lot of it currently is powered by diesel fuel, so by using BuildStream, we use it more efficiently, which therefore burns less fuel and has less carbon emissions. Our team is a mixture of developers, engineers and construction people, and we came together over a shared passion to help the construction industry adapt to the new opportunities that digitization is providing.
Hello everybody, I'm Terry Clark, the CEO and co-founder for BuildStream. BuildStream helps major infrastructure projects manage their heavy equipment in real time. One of our first trial projects is to help a multi-billion-dollar new road construction. We're working with the contractors to manage their excavators, trucks and bulldozers. And what we found is that these items cost anywhere between $3,000 and $8,000 every week to use. There's rental costs, operator costs and fuel. But these assets are utilized less than 20% of the time. And at this particular project, that means $5 million every week is being wasted on underutilized assets. Now, when the contractors are on razor-thin profit margins, this is a major problem. And this is just one example. But low utilization of equipment is a problem that's affecting thousands of projects globally, and hundreds of billions of dollars is being wasted across the industry. And the reason for this is around data and communication. Legacy systems are still in place to manage these complex operations, email, spreadsheets, and even pen and paper. And that doesn't scale across multiple sites, hundreds of supply chain partners, and thousands of pieces of equipment. Existing telematics systems are no longer fit for purpose. They don't provide us with the live granular data that we now need, and in our trials it's taken up to 5 days to pull the data manually across these complex operations. And finally, there's a labor shortage. Good operators are hard to find, and it's almost impossible to manage their performance once they're out in the field. So we're changing all that with BuildStream. We're making the operations smart and connected. And it starts by collecting all the data from the supply chain, the equipment, and the site. That then links into our centralized platform where we analyze it and feed real-time productivity insights to the people that need it most. And here's how it looks. We bring the site to life through data. Every single piece of equipment is connected. It's able to communicate to us how it's being used, its health, and where it's working now and where it's needed next. This creates one source of truth for the full project team to refer to. It's available in real time on phone, tablet, and desktop. With BuildStream in use, you get your productivity insights in real time. No more waiting multiple days to see the situation. And this is a big market. Globally, $1 trillion every year is spent on earthworks, and in the US alone, it's a $140 billion market. We have enough equipment assets in our pipeline to reach $100 million in ARR within 4 years, and we generate revenue on a subscription basis. It starts with the software platform, and then when it's required, we also charge for hardware installations. Because we're able to save the projects a significant amount of money, we're able to achieve good gross margins on these products. And we sell directly to the general contractor, and this has a great network effect. We're finding that they trial us on one project and then roll us out onto multiple. And they're now asking us to link in their supply chain partners, such as equipment rental companies, OEMs, and subcontractors. And we've seen some fantastic growth since we joined UrbanX. We launched our beta platform in February, and we've gone from 0 to 2,000 assets under management, and we're on track to hit 30,000 by the end of the year. We have $30 million in pipeline revenue lined up, and since February we've signed $500,000 in LOIs and paid trials, and we're working with some of the leading construction companies and equipment suppliers in the UK, Japan, and the US. And BuildStream is highly differentiated in the market. We're the only platform that is able to optimize operations in real time across complex supply chains. We're starting to go head-to-head with some of these incumbents now, and we've won our first projects from them. And we've got a great team to execute on this. My background is 12 years in corporate construction. I was previously head of sustainable construction at Europe's largest infrastructure developer. David, our COO, is a former engineer at Apple, working on AI and big data projects, and we're building a tech team of world-class developers and engineers from the likes of Uber and Samsung. We feel it's inevitable that digitization and automation will change the business model for equipment use in construction, and we're positioning to become the #1 real-time management platform in the next 12 months. We'll then link in a marketplace where equipment hire companies can rent and share their equipment with our users, and we'll charge commission on that. Within the next 4 years, we'll then start to build in automated and robotic equipment, and that's a market that's growing 28% year on year. We're looking for world-class, ambitious investors, developers, engineers, and partners to help us transform the future of construction. If you'd like to reach out to us, please do come find us at the booth at the end. Thank you.
All right, so let's give it up to all these teams one more time, please. Awesome. I'm Mark Paris at Urban Us. With my partners Stonley, Sean, and Liz, we're honored to work with Mini BMW in this project every 6 months. And this is the moment where these teams tell their story in 5 minutes. Now they're ready to talk to you for a much longer period of time. So we encourage you to come back to the booths back there or over here, depending upon where the team is. Thank you so much for coming. And if you want to come back for a rerun tonight and a big party with 600 of your best friends, please feel free to do so at, I believe, 6:30, right? So sounds good. So thanks, folks. Thanks for coming.